History remembers Bhishma. It remembers Drona. Yet, among the oldest guardians of the Kuru dynasty stood another forgotten patriarch, King Bahlika. On the eve of Kurukshetra, he rode into battle not as an ambitious conqueror, but as the last living witness to an age that was already fading into memory. He was no ordinary monarch. Bahlika was the elder brother of King Shantanu and the uncle of the mighty Bhishma. Long before the Pandavas and Kauravas were born, he had watched the house of Kuru flourish across generations. Far to the northwest lay his prosperous kingdom of Bahlika, a land where caravans from Persia, Central Asia, and Bharat converged beneath the mighty Hindu Kush. Yet, even from his distant throne, Bahlika witnessed the moral decline of Hastinapura. The splendor of the Kuru Empire slowly gave way to jealousy, ambition, and adharma. When Duryodhana summoned every allied king to Kurukshetra, the aged monarch faced the greatest dilemma of his life. His heart understood the righteousness of the Pandavas, but his lifelong loyalty belonged to the house of Kuru that had nurtured him since birth. Thus, the grand old patriarch began his final journey, not toward victory, but toward destiny. Bahlika was born into one of the most illustrious royal lineages of Bharat. As the eldest son of King Pratipa, he belonged to the generation that preceded even the legendary Bhishma. Destiny carried him far to the northwest, where he ruled the prosperous kingdom of Bahlika, situated along the great caravan routes beneath the Hindu Kush. His realm became a meeting place of civilizations linking Bharat with Persia and Central Asia. For decades, he governed with wisdom rather than conquest. His kingdom flourished through commerce, diplomacy, and stability, earning him the reverence of neighboring rulers. His legacy continued through his son Somdatta and his grandson Bhurishravas. Three generations stood together, unaware that destiny would soon summon all three to the same battlefield. By the time the seeds of Kurukshetra were sown, Bahlika had become more than a king. He was the last living memory of the glorious age of King Pratipa and Shantanu, carrying within him the history of an entire dynasty. But wisdom does not always make choices easier. Bahlika understood where righteousness lay, yet the house of Kuru had shaped his entire life. His heart was divided between dharma and lifelong loyalty. Around him stood Bhishma, Drona, and Kripa. None rejoiced at the coming war. These aged guardians silently watched the dynasty they had devoted their lives to slowly walk toward destruction. Knowing there would be no return, Bahlika took one final look at the kingdom he had faithfully ruled. Without bitterness, without hesitation, he accepted the path that destiny had chosen for him. At Kurukshetra, three generations of one noble house rode together into history. Grandfather, son, and grandson advanced side by side, united by honor, even as fate prepared to separate them forever. When Bahlika finally stood before the mighty Bhima, age had weakened neither his courage nor his resolve. His final stand became more than a duel. It was the passing of one generation into the hands of another. As twilight descended upon Kurukshetra, the grand old patriarch was no more. With the fall of Bahlika vanished one of the last inviting links to the age of Shantanu. His kingdom would endure, his lineage would be remembered, but an entire era had quietly passed into history. Perhaps that is Bahlika's greatest legacy, not the battles he fought, but the unwavering loyalty with which he bore the burden of an age that was destined to end.